Hello there, men, and welcome to the Masculinism Movement channel, a place for men to be men and talk about masculinity and men's issues. I'm your host, Brian Crawl, and today I'm going to be talking about the dark truths of modern man. But before I get started, could you just hit that like button for me? Thanks. Though most everyone acts like they have everything under control, it's all just a farce that they put on to look good. In reality, everyone really feels lost, scared, and alone deep down inside, and often have severe emotional pain. And in this video, I'm going to be going over a list of the reasons why, and what these real issues that so many people have are. Personal issues that are so widespread that they've actually become larger social issues, which must be solved if we are going to save this society from the very dark path that it's on. And no matter how strong and successful someone may be, the truth is that underneath it all, we are really all just a bunch of needy children searching for the lost love of our parents that we don't get anymore, and are trying to find our way in this scary world without them, pretending to be strong in hopes that it will get us somewhere, but yet doomed to constantly relive childhood traumas and emotional issues in our minds. Most people are overly concerned with their outer appearance because they are highly superficial and shallow and need to put on a mask to cover up the fact that they have no inner beauty. Most people are afraid to admit how vulnerable they really are and have no way to heal their emotional wounds that they keep accumulating over time because of the fact that their only solution is to ignore them, and so they only grow and fester inside of them, and they do not know how to correct the patterns that they keep repeating that cause them to have emotional issues. And most people have no idea who they really are or why they are even here. Everyone is just wandering around aimlessly searching for something to distract them from that abysmal feeling of purposelessness and nothingness. Most people have no idea about the universe around them or the nature of reality, much less the human condition within it. It's as if they are dreaming and never, ever have a waking moment or a moment of lucidity. But yet, this is really out of choice due to their own weak-mindedness. Most people are not free thinkers. They have no independence or will of their own. They are just brainwashed zombie slaves under the mind control of the government and powers that be, and are at their complete behest. Because most people are not in control of their own minds and its wiring or development, but leave it up to the government and other powers that be in control and to develop it for them with their social engineering, who then turn them into their own army of robot slaves that they put to work like a queen insect with her colony in order to build the empire for the 1% on top. And thus, most people are defined only by what they do and their job, not a real sense of identity and self-concept. In fact, most people are so feeble-minded that they would rather be controlled and oppressed by the powers that be rather than have to deal with the burden of responsibility of thinking for themselves and having free will and being independent to make their own choices and decisions. Most people are unhappy and live their lives chasing happiness like a drug through material possessions and other meaningless and corrupt pursuits such as money and status, sensory pleasure, and such, because they don't know what happiness really is. Thus, they live in misery. Most people will always feel unfulfilled and never get what they want in life, much less the life that they want, because they don't really know what it is that they want, since they don't have much that they really care about or value. And the things that people think they want are not what they really want, only what they are programmed to want through their social conditioning. So they will always feel unsatisfied and empty. And most people have a giant gaping hole inside of them that comes from not knowing who they are and being unfulfilled in life, or even being heartbroken. And they try to fill it with indulgence, hoarding, overconsumption, and external validation, and other such things that only makes it grow into a massive black hole. Most people are egoic and insecure and have serious untreated emotional issues and blockage because they refuse to exercise the emotional maturity or intelligence to deal with these issues and solve them. So instead, their issues dwell and fester within them and grow into greater and greater problems over time until it becomes a real serious mental illness that can only be treated with mind-numbing toxic drugs that just zombify you. Because most people are in denial of their shadow side, and so it festers inside of them and turns into inner demons that they cannot control or even face, but which manifest into disturbing thoughts and feelings that they are ashamed of. And over time, it can even turn into deviant behaviors that they can hardly accept in themselves. And so this leads to most people being part of these social problems and the paradigms that are destroying civilization because they are too blind to even see what the problems are, or too weak-minded to be able to handle thinking about them, and cannot stop their animalistic feeding and fucking long enough to consider if an apocalyptic world is the kind of world they should be raising a family in, and how they're going to be hurting their future generations with the actions that they take in this life. But no, most humans are politically irresponsible, ignorant, and absent-minded, and have recklessly abandoned themselves from political participation, and thus they are simply government mules to a system that does not have their best interest in mind, but instead is purposely meant to use them and suck their life force and human resources in order to feed the 1% who are in control. Most people have ceased to evolve and are socially regressive, devolving back into apes, or worse, due to genetic mutations brought on to us by GMO foods and poisonous chemicals, as well as the adverse ways in which this new age of technology is socially conditioning and reprogramming our brains. Most humans live like animals with no consciousness, no conscience, no culture, no class. This is called degeneration. Most human beings, being devoid of higher awareness, are but degenerate animals. Most people are too tuned into technology and are out of tune with their human nature and the real natural world around them. And thus they are living in disalignment with nature and are not living as the natural system on Earth that we were made to live in, intended for us to do biologically. The consequences of this have dire effects and cause people to become very unwell physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually. Are you sure to take your daily dose of red pills consistently so that you can stay out of the matrix? The red pill is a medicine that only works if you take it in the right dosage and never miss a dose. One missed dose of red pills can mean turning back into a blue-pilled limp dick simp under the sharp heel of the evil feminist matriarchy. So make sure you are subscribed and that your subscription is set to all so that you never have to miss one of your daily doses of the red pill, because I'm releasing hot new red pill content every single fucking day just to make sure you don't have to. So make sure you will actually get notified when they are released, because you know that YouTube doesn't want to show you things that don't align with its liberal leftist feminazi agenda, and it shadow bans content creators like me who use free speech to speak out against these politics and stand up for the rights of the oppressed masses of men like you and me. And if you want to help me keep fighting the good fight, please donate using the PayPal link below so that I can keep this work alive, because I simply cannot do it without the support of viewers like you. And be sure to spread these messages and share these videos with any other men you know who could use a nice big dose of red pills. Most human beings do not educate themselves or practice personal development. They get whatever minimal level of poor education is required for them to get a job that will pay well enough to sustain their life, and then after that, they never read or learn anything, but instead devote their lives to TV and alcohol and shopping and other meaningless and unenriching activities, which cause the degradation of any character and intelligence they may have had. The average adult is literate only at a third grade level, and their brains have been retarded due to poor education and conditioning, and then personal neglect as an adult. Most people cannot be entrepreneurs and are destined to live in poverty, carrying out orders of other people for meager wages simply because they do not have any passions, values, ambition, organization, or integrity to have pursuits or start a business venture of their own. Most people can never have good things in their life because they self-sabotage and do not allow themselves to have good things, since deep down inside of them, they really feel that they don't deserve them. The survival instinct makes human nature inherently self-centered, solipsistic, sociopathic, and even evil, because it is just our nature to act in our own interest and at the expense of others and any greater good, and thus destructively. It is the nature of this survival instinct to harm others and the environment around you for your own self-preservation. Therein, if you do not make a conscious effort to better yourself and be a good person with integrity and to make a positive contribution to the world around you, you will default to being an evil and destructive person. And so, unfortunately, the world is full of bad people. In fact, I believe that human nature is inherently bad, and most people are thus bad. And most people are caught up in self-deceit and thus the deceit of others because they don't have the strength to stand the discomfort of being honest with themselves, let alone their family, friends, or other intimate relations. Most people are living a lie and live in deceitful relationships due to this because the truth is too hard to face and they are too weak and scared to be honest, authentic, and genuine with themselves, much less anyone else. Most people have no one who they can have a constructive conversation with when they feel depressed, upset, or overwhelmed by life's problems or lost in its meaninglessness, and so they feel helplessly alone and hopeless to help themselves. Most people in relationships do not even know what love is or how to even have a healthy partnership. And most are being objectified and used in some way by their partners and are only with them because they are scared to be alone and feel like they will not be able to get someone else who would be good to them. And it's probably true because most people have no real value to offer romantic partners and no relationship management skills, and thus they are doomed to live in unfulfilling, unhealthy, and even abusive relationships or otherwise face loneliness. And most people will never know true unconditional love and do not have anyone in their lives who truly cares about them simply just because of who they are. They only have transactional relationships with people who want something from them and who they serve some functional role in the lives of. And when they stop serving that role, the person will stop being a part of their life. This is because most people only have functional roles to offer others and are incapable of offering real personality-based value or having meaningful interactions and relationships. Only transactional, need fulfillment-based ones. And most people do not know what it means to make love or have a spiritual connection with a lover, much less have a full sensual or orgasmic experience with them. They are limited sexually to just fucking like animals, or worse, sexual dysfunction and deviance due to their lack of sexual self-concept and self-love and healthy realistic romance. Most people are unenlightened and have no concept of true spirituality because they've been too brainwashed by the socio-politics of organized Orthodox religion, which has been engineered to control the masses, not enlighten them, and to oppress, not free their spirits. Most people live life not as a spirit or consciousness, but as a baser physical body and a mundane ego. Most people will always have to struggle in life with things such as chronic pain and suffering and illness, and will die early because they are bought into the government matrix that is the medical and food industry, and they pump their bodies full of poisons that they never research, while the powers that be profit off of their misery and degradation. And when you think about your death, will you feel regret looking back at your life? For that moment could come at any time. Yet most people waste their lives in reckless abandon, attempting to ignore this fact of their mortality and any serious implications it might have that are too much for their weak minds to think about. So what about you? Are you ready for death? If you were to die now, would you look back on your life thinking that you had lived a very meaningful, purposeful, fulfilling life and had fulfilled your life's purpose and found happiness and contentment in your time here? Most people would say no and are horrified at this idea, yet they refuse to do anything about it, to live a more meaningful and pursuit-driven lifestyle due to their own lack of character and integrity. And so most people go through life wearing these masks of being okay, while underneath it, they are really just lost, scared, alone, and often in deep emotional pain. Are you one of them? Because the chances are that you are. And in me reading these points, chances are you identified with at least some of them, and felt like these were problems that you have. And if you didn't hear any of this and think, oh no, that sounds like me, well, you're probably sitting there saying, what a load of bullshit. I don't do any of that. This guy probably just has a really bad attitude. And perhaps you even got offended by some of these points. And right there is an indication that you actually probably do have those issues in yourself, which is why you are getting defensive. It's called a defense mechanism, which means that they are hiding within you, and even you yourself may not be aware of them. So whatever the case, you'll know which of these issues you have because you'll have had some internal reaction when I spoke about them. But don't worry, where there's problems, there's solutions. Where there's a will, there is a way.
That concludes this video. Thanks for listening. I hope I mansplained that good enough for you. If you like what you heard, please click the like button. And if you feel you gained some value from this video and would like to give some back, please do so with the PayPal link below, because your support helps fund me doing this work and fight the good fight for men like you. If you are ready to take the red pill and wake up from the matrix and the matriarchy controlling it and learn everything you need to know about female on male sexism, get your copy of my newly released book called Misandry Exposed, on sale now for a special price that won't last long. So check it out by clicking the link below. And otherwise, you can stay tuned for my next video coming out tomorrow. And otherwise, take care of yourselves, men, because no woman out there is going to.